Guess who's back? Back again. Shady's back. Tell a friend.
Let's talk. Hi. 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 Now. Hi. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a hot minute, but let's talk some books, shall we? Let's talk about the 13 books that I've read this year so far. I have the pile here with me. Now that's heavy. So let's start. I started this year off in a very bad slump. I don't think I read anything for the first 7 days of this year, but then I picked up The Palace of Illusions by Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni. I've had this book for a really long time. I just don't know, I never got around to it, but I'm so glad that I did when I did. Palace of Illusions is basically the story of Mahabharata, but from the point of view of Draupadi. I felt like it was a very interesting take. The book is very beautifully written. I feel like it's very well researched as well. It's very fast paced and it got me out of a reading slump, so brownie points for that. There's nothing new in terms of the story or the plot if you know of Mahabharata, but hearing this timeless tale from another point of view was very interesting to read, and I felt like there were a lot of things that were said in this book which I took out as a lesson to be applied in life in general as well, So I started my year with a very positive note. This book gave me very good energy. If you're interested in mythology and if you have an open mind, only then go in to read retellings of something that has been there for ages. I would definitely recommend this. This was a 4 out of 5 for me. Next book I read was And the Mountains Echoed by Khaled Hosseini. In this book, we're following a family of 4 where we have Abdullah, who's a 10-year-old boy, and his sister Pari and their parents. So this book started out very promising. I was absolutely invested 100%. I love the family dynamic story, and I knew like Khaled Hosseini is going to paint me a really beautiful and a sad picture, so I was ready for to feel all my emotions. The story is told across generations, across countries, continents, so it was very interesting to follow our characters throughout the years as they're growing. The thing that I did not like about the book, and which kind of kept me from really being able to connect to the characters, was that there were so many point of views in the story. We were following so many different characters. I would have liked to read about our main family, and all those other POVs also sort of contributed to the story, but I would have liked to read about them in relation to the family. But I feel like we deviated from that, so I personally did not enjoy that, and it held me back from really being invested as much as I was in the start. The most that I enjoyed was the start and the end. In between, we were getting little glimpses of, the main family, which I wanted to read about, but that was not enough for me. I just wanted to read about their story. So this one was a 3 stars for me. I had high hopes from it, but it did not land where I would have expected it to go. The next book I read was I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Harpman. So the story starts with 40 women held in a bunker somewhere, we don't know where. We're following the story through this one girl who's the youngest in this group, and since she's come to her senses, she has been in this underground bunker. She doesn't know about the outside world. Whenever the other women are talking about how their life used to be before, she can't relate to it. She doesn't understand the concept of how the outside world looks like. And one day they're presented with an opportunity that they can escape the bunker, and the story just picks up from there. And then we're just following our lead character, and whatever she's finding out, we're finding out through her. So there's a lot of ambiguity that's there in the book because there's no context given to what's happening. The ending also, there's a lot left to interpretation, but there wasn't much to interpret from because we're not given much context. But the story, it's very interesting, it's very well written, and I feel like this is one of the books that's going to be a classic. There are just some books that are going to survive the test of time. This is one of those books. So, but for me, I like the closed loop endings. I like to know a little bit more than I was given in this book. This book was a 3.5 stars. But it's a very quick read, so if you enjoy dystopian fiction, I'm sure you will love it. The book that I read was A Woman Is No Man by Ita Froome. I don't have the book for it because I lent it to one of my friends. But the story starts with a 17-year-old girl, Isra, who lives in Palestine, and she loves reading books. She, lives in her own world, and she doesn't really understand the culture, and she dreams of freedom. So one day when she gets proposed to by a Palestinian family who is settled in America, she feels like this is her one chance at freedom. So she's really excited to be there. She's very open to all the experience, even though the guy that she's getting married to is almost, I guess, 15 years elder to her. But when she gets married and she moves to America, she realizes that your lifestyle, the kind of life that you lead or where you live, doesn't really affect what you think here. And then just starts a struggle. Plain as that, there's just struggle in it. And then we're following their two timelines. One, we're looking at Isra's life when she moved to America, and then fast forward to we're following her daughter's life as well. So, it just goes to show the change really starts at home. And the book is it's very fast paced, it's very beautifully written, it's very raw. So if you want to read something that's, very emotional, there's something that makes you stop and just think for a minute, I would definitely recommend this book. Okay, the next book that I read was Motherhood by Sheila Heti. In the most plain terms, this book is about just questioning if you feel like you want to have a family, if you want to, embrace motherhood in your one life that you get on the planet Earth, if you want to mother a child. This is essentially just a monologue, a 250-page monologue about a woman just questioning the shit out of if she wants to be a mother or not, if she wants to have a family or not. She has a partner, she's settled, so if you are in a heterosexual relationship, as a woman, you're just expected to get on this path of life and you're expected to have children. If you don't want to have a child, you must have a groundbreaking purpose in life. You have to do something that is just out of the world. You have to have a very acceptable reason as to why you're not going to have children. It explores motherhood, it explores spirituality. It's just beautifully written. I loved it. It felt like a conversation you have with a friend where you feel comforted, you feel validated, you feel called out, you're made to feel accountable. It was just a treat. Through and through, this book was a treat. I've annotated so much of this book. If I just randomly just open some annotation, indecision has always been with me, but I didn't want it to dominate my life more than it had already done. Getting my eggs frozen would have been like freezing my indecision. I couldn't reveal my weakness to myself in such a tangible way. It's just, what do you mean? The way that it's just great. When I say that this book taught me so much about spirituality as well, I mean it. Whatever answers we seek from the universe, everything is already inside of us. It's very profound. I love this book. The next book that I read was All Fours by Miranda July. We're following a 45-year-old woman who is an artist, and she gifts herself 1 week worth of time. She goes on a road trip from LA to New York, and the first day in that road trip, she derails from her plan and she just goes and books a motel. Her plan is to only stay one night, but then that night turns into 2 nights, 3 nights, 4 nights, and then comes so many things that the story just goes haywire, honestly, in the most amazing way. So 20% in, I was like, okay, fun. 35%, I was like, it's getting out of hand a little bit. 60%, I was like, do we need to know all this? Towards the end of the book, all of it just came back to me. I sat for a while with the story and it just made sense. And I'm not gonna lie, I felt a little uncomfortable at parts while reading this book, and I'm gonna call myself out on that. That was the exact point of the book. Explores topics around monogamy, discovering polyamorous relationships, wanting to be in one when you already have a long-term relationship with a child involved in that, losing yourself in between but still having the courage to stand up for what you want. If I have to say something, I would say there were no unnecessary parts in it. I don't think there was anything written that didn't contribute to the larger picture of what the book was trying to paint. So I enjoyed it thoroughly. So all in all, I was surprised by the book. I did not expect it to take the turn that it did towards the end of it. But those are the best stories where you don't know what to expect. So then I have given it 4 stars. It's lovely. The next book that I read was The Forest of Enchantments by Chitra Banerjee. This is again a retelling of Ramayana from the point of view of Sita. There's nothing new in the plot and the story if you already are aware of Ramayana, so no surprises there. But I did not enjoy it as much as I enjoyed The Palace of Illusions. I felt the story was a little dragged. I did not enjoy the characters meaning, Sita, Ram, their love story. I felt like it was not. Actually, don't want to say anything that can get me in trouble. I feel like Sita's character was not shown as strongly as I would have believed it to be. I think I gave it 3 stars. I do appreciate and acknowledge the effort and the research that went into writing this book, but this story was just not for me. So this was a 3 stars. Next, I read Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby One-Pelt. In this story, we're following Tova, who has started working at an aquarium in the night shift after her husband died, and she's keeping herself busy ever since her son mysteriously disappeared 30 years ago. And in that aquarium, we meet Marcellus, who is the octopus, who is here marketed on this book. I thought I was misinformed that this was going to be more octopus heavy. Okay, that sounds bad. I thought the octopus would have a bigger role in the story, because literally the back of the cover says that ever since Marcellus basically deduces what happened the night that Tova's son disappeared, he decides that it is his job to let her know somehow. So that, and the fact that the book has the octopus on it, led me to believe that this is going to be more about that. Less human, more octopus. And we have another character's parallel story going on as well. But the octopus action is not as much as I would have liked. I thought this was going to be a very magical kind of book. It was not that. I was misinformed. Maybe that's my bad. So this was a 3 stars for me. But there is a movie coming on Netflix, or I don't know if it is already out. So I would be interested to see the movie for sure. Then I read One Day by David Nicholas, following Dexter and Emma, and they meet on the night of their graduation on 15th July in 1980 or 1990. So each chapter we get a glimpse of their lives on the 15th of July, and I guess the book spans over the course of 20 years in total. The story is very well written. It's extremely beautiful. There's something about stories set in London and our literary fictions. It just gets me every time. The dry humor, the banter, it just all does it for me. And I also loved the matter-of-factly writing that the author had in this book. There was specifically a scene where, without giving any spoilers, but a similar kind of event happening in any other book that I've read, it's done very dramatically. There's a full picture they paint, there's a full angle given to it, but this was just, I was reading it and it just happened. I was like, oh, and that just hit more. I know without context it doesn't make a lot of sense, but that just stood out for me a lot, and this was a very unexpected 5 stars for me. So for sure recommend. I started watching the show as well after it, but I don't know, I just couldn't continue because I had just finished reading the book, and I think I watched 2 episodes and it sort of was exactly how I had imagined it. I felt like the casting, the acting, it was perfect. Next, I read The Women by none other than Kristen Hanna. In this book, we're following Frances McGrath, who comes from a very conservative American family. This book is set in the 1960s, and Frances always wants to do the right thing. She always feels like she has purpose in life and she wants to fulfill that. All around her is changing. There's a war breaking out in Vietnam, and she decides that she will go and serve as a nurse in the war. So we follow her throughout her service in the war. She's not prepared for what she signed up for, but she does her best. The real battle starts when she comes back home from the war. Kristen Hanna is known to write such strong female characters. The way that she writes on friendships, relationships, just life in general, it's just so beautiful. The book started out great, but in between I felt like it was a little dragged, but Kristen Hanna knows how to reel it all back in towards the end. This book is on relationships, friendships, struggles, just life in general as it comes. And the author's note at the end of the book, where she has actually spoken to women veterans who served in the war, and how their experience was during the war and after the war. It's just beautiful. This book was the first Kristen Hanna book that was not a 5-star for me, but I loved it regardless. I rated it a 4 or a 4.5, I can't remember, but I think it was a 4. Next, I started reading My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. This book, the premise of the book is so interesting. So the book starts with Eden Fox going for a run because she has a really big exhibition the next day. Goes for a run, she comes back, and then when she tries to open the door to her house, the key doesn't fit. She tries it once or twice, it doesn't work, and she's surprised that why would her husband, when she's out for a run, why would he suddenly change the locks? And then she knocks on the door, and then this one woman who looks eerily similar to her opens the door, and she says, "Hi, what do you want?" And she's like, "What do you mean, what do I want? I want to get in. What are you doing?" And she was like, "No, this is my house." It's like, "No, I'm Eden Fox. This is my house." So this woman is like, "No, I'm Eden Fox. This is my house." And the husband comes, and the husband is also really confused, and he doesn't believe the woman who's standing outside the door. He says that my wife is in the house. What are you saying? So the story starts here. It's very interesting. I was instantly hooked. There were some good twists in the book where I had to go back down the pages. How did I miss that? But then there came a point where other characters also were introduced, and there was just so much going on in the book that at times things that were happening, it didn't really fact check. Like, it didn't make sense. Not in the way that I didn't understand what was going on, but it just did not add up. So I don't know how much I can explain that without giving spoilers, but a book with great potential according to me. It kind of fell flat towards the end, so I gave it a 3 stars. Next, I picked up Ghosts by Dolly Alden, and right off the bat, I loved this book. This book was perfection. If somebody asks me, what do you like to read? What are the kind of books you like to read? This is the answer. Our protagonist, Nina, she is recently single from her some 7-8-year-old relationship. She's landed her dream job. She's gotten a new house for herself. She is starting to date, and she's met this great guy called Max. Then on the other side, she also is struggling to keep up her friendships when all of her friends are in different phases of life. Her dad is really sick, so she's struggling with that. And then Max, who on the first date told her that he wants to marry her, has completely ghosted her. So this book was very funny, it was very smart, it was just delicious. Again, this is set in London, which is my favorite setting. 30-year-olds in London dating, navigating relationships, navigating friendships is just my favorite thing to read. The social commentary in the book, the observations that the author has made, they're just about the most mundane day-to-day activities that you would go about, the most random conversations that you would have. It's just so good. If you read this book, you just know a very observant person has written it. The attention to detail that has gone behind it, it's crazy. There's just one line in the book that since the time I finished this book, I've gone back so many times. I even remember the page number that it's on. It's 262. When I read it, it just got me. It was just before midnight. It was cold. I was an adult woman with a mortgage, a career, and a life full of responsibilities. I was a little girl with a dying dad, and I didn't know where I wanted to go. I miss home. It's just beautiful. Of course, if you didn't get it by now, this was a 5 stars. And the last book that I have for this video is A Touch of Jen by Beth Morgan. This book, we're following Remy and Alicia, these two people in a relationship for almost a year, who are almost kind of, done with each other. But one thing that they have in common is this obsession with one of Remy's ex-co-workers called Jen. They stalk Jen like it's their full-time job. They have alerts set up for any time she posts a picture. When she posts a picture, they'll get together, they'll text each other if they're not together that she's posted a picture, then they'll psychoanalyze every little thing in that picture. So their obsession is on some other level. So imagine their surprise and excitement when one day they actually run into Jen and she invites them for a weekend away with her boyfriend and a couple of other friends for surfing. And the story just goes on from there. And if I thought that their obsession before this trip was weird, what happens after that, it's even weirder. The commentary on the parasocial relationship that you have with somebody online that you don't even know, it's very well done, but that's just the start of the book. After that, it's just dark comedy, and towards the end of it, forget about the comedic part, it's only dark. No one could have prepared me for the last pages of the book. I was just like, it was just very random. there comes a part in this book where Jake Gyllenhaal is a character. He comes to the cafe where Alicia works, and he's there randomly. He has no contribution, no purpose in the story. He could have been just a random man, but the fact that he's in there, it just, it just describes how random and great this book was. And so if you like random, funny, dark stuff happening, if you can keep an open mind to whatever the writer throws at you, I would say go for it. I gave it a 4 stars. I just finished it yesterday and it was good. It's really different from whatever I've read this year, and I'm not complaining. So that is all that I've read so far. If you've made it till here, thank you so much for hearing me yap. I've really been wanting to have an outlet of everything that I've read, and it's been too long. Other than doing reviews on Goodreads for some books here and there, I've just been keeping it all inside me. I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye!